Well, happy Thursday. I hope that everyone again is having a great week, as I always say on Let's Discuss with John Barba. Um, Today, I would like to open a discussion about the rule of law. You know, yesterday I was sitting there for a little while watching the um, House have this hearing with Merrick Garland and, all the grandstanding and, it just political rhetoric that of the Attorney General of the United States, who is responsible for upholding um, the laws of the United States, for investigating crimes, and thinking to myself, what a show. What a ridiculous show. I mean, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. I think it's pretty clear that there's a lot of laws that get broken every day, and the attorney general and prosecutors just don't seem to give a damn. They just really don't. Um, it was followed up after watching that, and that's really what kind of was the driving force about doing a video on rule of law. Is I saw an article calling out the hypocrisy that the Biden administration is wanting to strengthen gun laws and add new gun laws while Hunter, his son, is under indictment for breaking gun laws. I mean, there's already laws on the books, and we don't seem to want to enforce them. So adding laws sounds good. Sounds good for a political clip, for some sort of, 10 o'clock news soundbite. But what does it matter? We have thousands of laws, but prosecutors don't seem to want to enforce them. I mean, you all see, regardless of where you stand on law enforcement. By the way, I do want to say this. I believe that police are not the problem. Police follow the mandates that they have to follow, and a lot of times they don't agree with them. I'll give you a personal story here in a second, but at the end of the day, it's the prosecutors. It's people like the attorney general. Um, they're the ones that actually are responsible for prosecuting criminals. And every day we see a news story from LA or San Francisco or Chicago where some store gets looted and people take off with hundreds of thousands of dollars in merchandise or $1 in merchandise. I mean, it doesn't matter. They've stolen. And prosecutors, may or may not press charges against anybody. I was watching some reports on, and I can't remember. I believe it was in Chicago, where um, there's been a lot of carjackings, and the prosecutor has basically said that they're not going to be prosecuting people for these kind of crimes. Well, guess what happens when the prosecutors say they're not going to prosecute for theft? They're not going to prosecute for carjackings. They're not going to prosecute for all these horrible, heinous attacks, people on the subway and things like that in New York. They're not going to prosecute these people, or the police pick them up because they've broken the law And then they're back on the street in 15 minutes after they've, that may be an exaggeration, but they're back on the street within an hour or two, right? Because no bail or something like that, where they're allowed to roam the streets so that they can do it again. How many times do you see these stories where this is not the first time that these criminals have committed these crimes? They have multiple counts against them. And but they're on the street. They're doing it again. You know why they do it? Because they don't get prosecuted. Because they don't go to jail. There's there is no rule of law. I mean, it again, we live in a country where there's all these laws, um, and it's almost like the laws are only there for the honest people, right? My personal situation earlier this year, some 19-year-old kid drives through my metal fence. He was damn lucky he didn't die. His car was low enough profile that it missed the crossbar. Otherwise, he would have been decapitated. Okay? He was driving without insurance, falsified that he had insurance. At the end of the day, he didn't have insurance. What's happened to him? Nothing. I could go file civil suit, small claims, to repair the damage to my fence, well over $1,000. But then that all comes down on me. He got away scot-free. Nothing happened to him. If I got pulled over and I didn't have insurance, chances are I'm getting a citation because I'm an honest person. I'm not a criminal like this kid is. All right? It's an example of we either have laws and they are enforced or we don't. I'm not at all advocating, or actually, I shouldn't put it that way. I'm not looking forward to vigilantism. Um, but you know what else? I would protect my family. I would absolutely protect my family. Um, and that's why I go to the gun range on a regular basis. So I know my aim is good. So I don't want innocent people getting hit. But I guarantee you I will protect my family because I don't trust that the prosecutors are actually going to imprison the people that would commit a crime against my family. I'm not talking about going out and hunting this kid down for nailing my fence, okay? I'm talking about protecting the welfare, safety of my family, as many of you would too. But you know what? We shouldn't have to. We employ hundreds of thousands of police across the country, state, local. We have an FBI that's supposed to be there to enforce the laws. But at the end of the day, a lot of these prosecutors that are elected, they have no interest in actually fulfilling their oaths. Public servant actually takes an oath. They take an oath to uphold the laws of the United States and their local jurisdictions. And then they turn around and they say that they won't prosecute crimes. It's kind of like what we were talking about yesterday with immigration, right? There are laws about illegally entering our country, but Biden and his administration won't enforce those laws. And therefore, people are just fine with crossing the border illegally. There were, 4,000 something people that stormed the border in Eagle Pass yesterday, illegally. Under the bridge where you enter the country legally, they stormed across the river, and, why would they care, right? We don't enforce our laws. Why would a criminal not carjack you? He knows he's not going to get prosecuted. Why would a band of people hold up a convenience store or storm a Nordstrom's? I mean, a lot of these businesses are going out of business. They're closing down because they don't get support against these crimes. They get hurt, consumers get hurt, you and I get hurt because we can't feel safe. I have children. It scares the hell out of me that they're out there. They could be assaulted at any time because the criminals figure they're not going to get prosecuted. So why not do it? Why not steal $20 from a 19-year-old kid and hurt him? No skin off their back. It's pretty damn important to me, though. I think it would be important to you, too. So the big question is rule of law. Are we going to have laws in the United States that we actually follow? Are we going to have laws in the United States where the people that violate those laws are prosecuted? Or are we just going to have sound bites for the evening news where we're going to have a bunch of new laws? We don't enforce the ones now. Why are we going to enforce the new ones? I've said this many times on a lot of videos pertaining to other topics. But you know what? If you vote for prosecutors, and again, a lot of these prosecutors are in elected positions, okay? County sheriffs are in elected positions. If you're voting for people that have publicly stated that they're not going to uphold the rule of law, or if you're voting for people that appoint people like the Attorney General of the United States who doesn't uphold the rule of law, shame on you. Shame on you. That affects me. That affects my family. You know, we don't get to pick and choose, except for in the voting booth. If you're okay with your children not being safe, if you're okay with you not being safe on the streets, then vote for people that don't enforce the laws. I wish you would let me know ahead of time, though, so I know what precautions I need to take to protect myself. For those of you that live in cities or states where they openly say, we're not going to enforce the laws, God bless you. I pray for you. I hope you move. I hope you leave. I can tell you right now, I live in a home I plan to be in for a very long time. But I guarantee you, if people get voted in that won't uphold the rule of law, I'm leaving. I'm not staying around to be a victim. I choose not to be a victim. For those of you that would vote for victimhood, that would vote for your fellow citizens to become victims, shame on you. We either need to have laws that we uphold and we prosecute on, or we don't have laws and we just handle it ourselves. The latter is not going to be pretty. So, people, you need to decide. And let's discuss it. I mean, this is an open forum. I get a lot of people that agree with me, and I appreciate that. I'd like to hear from people that don't agree with me. Why you think lawlessness is okay. Or if you feel that I am mischaracterizing that. Explain to me how. Explain how I'm mischaracterizing laws not being um, adhered to. I mean, why that's okay. And then why do we have the laws at all? If it's something that we're not going to follow, then why are the laws on the books? Let's get them off, right? Because it's not fair that some people have to follow the law and other people don't. So let's discuss. Boy, it kind of turned out into a rant again, didn't it? Sometimes you have to have a rant so that we can discuss some things. Rule of law. Are we going to have laws or are we not going to have laws? Are we going to enforce the laws we have on the books before we even worry about adding new laws? Or are we just going to do Wild West free-for-all? Let's discuss. I look forward to hearing what you have to say. I hope you have a blessed day and a great end to your week.